Hey, this is Jessica and Debbie. We're with Be On It. Welcome to episode 10.
Hey Jessica, what's going on in the beehive today?
Hey, Debbie. I was just thinking about some memories that I had cooking and cooking with love and feeding your soul.
Love that topic. What were you thinking about? What
Well,
came to mind?
what came to mind were some core memories, as well as an article I read online from the Courier Online, Cooking as a Love Language by Dewani Masand, where she states cooking for someone is the best example of how we love. An adoration manifest into action. It's an act of service and a way to give the most universal gift, rolled into one. The universally acclaimed secret ingredient to making good food is, in fact, love.
Wow.
I just thought that was really powerful. For me,
Hmm.
when I take a look at that, I remember so many instances cooking with my grandparents and the joy that it brought me. I don't know that I've ever shared some of these core memories that I have as a kid and like the joy that I got from it and learning how to cook from it too from a young age. My dad and my mom were not the best of cooks, but my grandmothers, both my grandmothers, my mom's mom and my dad's mom were wonderful cooks and bakers. I really learned from them. You learn patience when you're cooking, right? You have to be patient, you have to be precise when it comes to baking. You have to follow a recipe, so you have to follow direction. These are lessons, you have to follow all these things in order to like have a good outcome, a good meal. And I remember growing up with my grandmother and me making cookies with her and how
Yeah.
she always incorporated walnuts in every cookie. And usually they were chocolate chip cookies, sometimes they were raisin, but they always had walnuts. Core memory stems from her childhood. So that was something that she passed on and shared, with me, growing up. She had a walnut tree. And so she just remembered they always were cooking with walnuts, and she always incorporated that
Hmm.
extra protein in cookie. And she's always cooking very healthy but good. So some
Hmm.
good memories from that.
Yes, it's such a practical way to show your love, and it fulfills a basic need of nourishment for the body. And it's creative too. You make a list, you have to think of what you're going to make, and that can be creative in a way.
Exactly. I know for me, I always make what sounds good that
Hmm.
particular day. We don't really, at our household, we don't plan too much ahead. Kind of have some ideas. We aren't strict. Just kind of what sounds good. And then I go get the ingredients, which for most people, that's a luxury. You usually have to mass shop and plan ahead when you have smaller kids. I only had two children and they would eat whatever we provided, but we'd all talk about it. It was group effort on what we wanted to eat. Otherwise, when you're on a budget, you don't want to waste money. And whatever we
Hmm.
did, they would help. Somebody would set the table. Somebody would maybe stir something for me, or if they were really interested in
Hmm.
wanting to know what I was cooking, they'd help me. And
Hmm.
so it created this family memory of us cooking together. I remember making pancakes for the kids in the morning, and eventually it became, what do you want to put in those pancakes this time? And so we would have coconut sprinkles, chocolate chips, or bacon in it. So it just depends on what they were in the mood for. But they would always eat whatever they tried, and whatever they wanted to make themselves, they would always eat. I think that's a good fostering for children to get them engaged in cooking because we all have to eat.
I'm thinking about my mom when I was young. I was raised in Texas. We actually grew a lot of our food because the sun was out all the time, and then we also had a lot of chicken manure, which was really good fertilizer. So everything that we grew did very well in Texas, like cucumbers, peppers, like just so many different Korean melons grew well. And so we had a lot of good harvests from our farming. And so that basically ended up on the table. And my mom did a lot of Korean cooking. And she's just kind of, I believe now that I think about it, that she did cook with love. She was very practical because we didn't have very much money. So she just kind of was able to look in the fridge or look and see what we had growing in the garden and just could whip something up in her head. Like she knew what to make. because she knew what was available. And then she cooked something that was delicious to the best of her ability, you know. And that's why I feel like it's kind of, I mentioned it was a creative outlet because you can put certain peppers in a food and to kind of give them that little tint of color in a soup. And I remember her doing that. Uh, I also remember just when she did make things for us, how grateful I was when I ate the food. Because, you know, obviously if you're out and about and you're tired and you come home and your mom makes you something delicious, how grateful you are to have that food in front of you waiting for you hot. It was received with a lot of gratefulness. And it wasn't anything fancy. Again, it was just food that she made, and it was practical, it was simple, and it tasted good. So in all ways it was food from the heart as well.
Oh, I love that. Thank you for sharing. I I remember having a garden. We very much did farm to table
Mhm.
because it's cheaper than going to the
Yeah.
grocery store to buy the vegetables and fruits. We did a
Mhm.
lot of carrots. We had plum trees and fig trees. We would share with our neighbors too. If you wanted fruit, please come help yourself. There's no way we could eat all of this. We just shared with everybody in our little neighborhood. They might have a garden with tomatoes and we might have the cucumbers. We would just
Mhm.
exchange, and it was a beautiful way to create
Oh, I love
community. And we weren't a very big neighborhood in my area, but it created community and fostered friendships that you wouldn't normally have. I do remember my grandma. We cooked very farm to table. So we had basic things like we'd always have skim milk was very big in our house.
Mm.
My dad was very health conscious, and so was my grandmother. And we would have green onions, we would have
Yeah.
celery, cucumber, pickles, carrots on occasion. But those were the staple, and they would be raw right out of the garden. My grandmother also had a grape tree, so every year we'd be so excited when she was harvesting the grapes for grape juice. Oh my
Mm.
gosh, it was, and it didn't make very much. And so all the grandkids would come over, and it'd be a big day of helping her and
Mhm.
then getting a little glass of grape juice and just all the core
Oh.
memories of doing all these things with my cousins and my grandparents. And I remember the smells of my mom's mom making breakfast in the morning and just how I loved her breakfast. And she'd make cinnamon rolls and she'd make bread and she'd have us help her. And oh, just those core memories. I can still smell it to this day if I think about it.
That is the coolest thing to cook with children because they're so eager and interested in helping. My mom makes Korean mandu. Basically, they're basically dumplings. And so she makes the filling, and she got the grandkids involved in basically rolling out the dough for each of the dumpling wrappers, the mandu wrappers, and then somebody then would handle filling the little wrapper with the mandu filling, and then sealing it off, and then mom would go and either steam or fry the mandu, and then everybody would enjoy the mandu afterwards, and there would be plenty of leftovers too. She started that years ago, and they're still doing it to this day, but I do feel like she needs to do a little more training as far as making the filling because they only know how to do certain steps in the process. They're older now, so they can handle more now, so she
Yeah.
needs to kind of teach them more so they know how to do the entire thing.
What a gift to pass on to their children someday if they have children. It's like culturally tradition that you've
Mm-hmm.
created in your family to pass on this recipe. And oh, it just sounds lovely.
Because we have such vivid food memories, there must be a connection between our gustatory sense and our memories and our emotions, don't you think?
Oh, I think so. I mean, I've always had a love for food, and it probably did foster from good memories of cooking with family. And even with my dad not being a good cook, he most certainly loved diversity in his food. The one great thing that he loved to do is we would go to cultural events where we'd get to try different foods. So, and I had a lot of friends that I got to try different food with as well. Later on, he married a Filipino woman, but I was already out of the house and she cooked beautiful Filipino food. So we
Mm-hmm.
had all these great flavors, and he was never afraid to try something. So he brought me along too. And so I was never afraid to try things. There's a few people that I know that they're very routine with what they eat and they eat the same things over and over. And I think to myself, how sad that You don't get to try all these like cool things that you never know
Hmm.
that you're going to like until you try it. I've always been open-minded with trying things. If it
That's
looks
good.
good, I'm going
Yeah,
to try it.
smells good.
Smells good, I'm going to try it.
I do need flavor though, for
I like
me.
flavor. Yeah.
Yeah. Because if it's too bland, then I'm always like reaching for the sriracha sauce or something to give it a little bit of a kick. My taste buds are used to that. And so if I don't have that, I figure something out.
It's so funny that you say that because growing up, we didn't really over season our food. And I got used to eating very like earthy and very farm to table with no added salt. Like rarely did I use salt. I might use a little pepper, but I mean, like during the holidays, of course, I think that my grandmother, she was the predominant one that made the holiday food, and we'd bring extra things like desserts and things. But wasn't until I got much older that I would, start seasoning things. And I mean, she seasoned a few things. Like my grandfather passed on a recipe to her because he was from Kansas for fried chicken and
Hmm.
black eyed peas and then collard greens. And so that always had flavor. And whatever she cooked with, her food always had flavor. So I don't remember exactly the spices she used at the time with. And she would try different things too. I remember her cooking chow mein and whatever I guess tickled her fancy, she would give it a try and she was always successful with it. It wasn't until much later that I started to incorporate more seasoning and that opened up my palate and now I have to have seasoning. I don't like to eat bland food.
And going back to our food memories, I feel like they do connect you to the person you are and the place that you're at. I eat a lot of Korean food. I feel this really deep I connection with my culture when I eat Korean food, and I crave it when I haven't had it in a while. I want to just put it out there that Korean culture is almost obsessed with food. It's crazy.
I love that. Well, I feel like Korean food has so many health benefits. Like kimchi, it's so good for the digestion. There's so much flavor that your mouth just does a little tap dance because, you're trying to figure out what all those yummy flavors are. It's funny because now I don't really eat that much bland stuff. I like to try everything. And it's because I'm craving that flavor that I didn't normally get as a kid. I mean, we'd go out and we'd have flavor, but mostly it was Chinese food, it was Mexican food, and that's
Hmm.
American Mexican food, and that's American Chinese food. So I didn't have traditional things until much later. Also, restaurants didn't provide those sort of things. There usually weren't restaurants open like there are now. Now we have food carts and people are more open to sharing their food recipes, but before it was very limited, and so you got a Americanized version of a certain cultural food.
So now, do you enjoy cooking?
I do when I'm up for it. Like if I'm in the mood for it, yes. If I'm not in the mood for it, no. If it feels like it has to be a chore that I have to do every day, not so much. But when I had kids, I needed to put food on the table and I would always ask them what they wanted and cook with love. Or if Matt and I wanted to try a recipe, I
Hmm.
would either be the cook and he'd be the sous chef, or we'd swap, or if the kids wanted to help. So I've always enjoyed creating something new in a recipe a couple of different times and then adjusting it how I would like it. I'd follow the directions the first time and then see how I would change it in my mind. And by taking care of elderly in their home, they passed on wonderful recipes that they grew up with that they wanted me to make. So I got this great immersion of different cultures and different meals that I got to prep and like bring into my family. I just love that I had that and that I got to like create. It's another part of me being creative. And I like to bake more than I like to cook. I like to do it when there's nobody home, and unless the kids are wanting to help and make something specific, then I can kind of pre-plan things out. But I really find enjoyment when I have the kitchen to myself and I have I imagine because I'll get like these ideas
Yeah.
and then I'll look up certain recipes. The only time that it didn't turn out great um, was Riley wanted a coconut cake for her birthday, and I followed a recipe based off of a baker. My mixer broke in the middle of it, and I think in my heart of hearts, I probably used the wrong flour for our area. I think that if I had changed it to a cake flour, it might not have been
Hmm.
as stiff. One of these days I'll have to remake it, but it was pretty dry and I felt terrible. I had to add a little extra ice cream milk. I don't know if it didn't get whipped enough. I'm not quite sure what went wrong with that, but all my other cakes have been successes, but that was one fail. But you know what? You learn from it and you move on.
Yeah. And it was your first time trying it
It was my
too. I feel
first
like,
time trying
right,
it.
you can't
Don't
you
let that
can't
discourage you.
put too
Yeah.
much. I'm the opposite. I don't really enjoy cooking. So that's a challenge for me. I never have really enjoyed it. So my culture loves food. My mom cooks, and I think she enjoys it. But me, I just never really have gotten into it. I have been more of the receiver. My challenge is to how to get from being a receiver of cooking with love to being more of a nurturer, cooking for others with love. And so that's my personal challenge. I will say this, I would love to collaborate with you since you enjoy
Yeah.
cooking. I think it's like also like how recipes are presented. I would love to
Yeah.
collaborate and come up with like a recipe book where the recipe itself is really simple to follow. I'm not interested in reading like a chapter book when I'm trying to follow a recipe and make something new.
I agree. I want simple and tasty. I don't, if it's too complicated and gourmet, that's not for me.
Yeah,
That's not who I am.
but just the way in which the recipe book is written, it's like
Right.
why do we need full-on sentences? Let's just do the bullet points and just
That's right.
make it really super visually stimulating
Hmm.
and easy to follow. Like I would love to collaborate with you one
Oh,
day.
I would
We
love
should make a
that.
recipe book together.
We should.
I was just gonna add it because it's like a melding of somebody who enjoys it and can kind of elevate the task of cooking to an art with somebody who doesn't enjoy it.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea, like the basics. It's so funny. Some people say they can't even boil hot water. Is it because you don't try, or is it because you just don't get enjoyment and you see it as a task? Because I know that not everybody enjoys cooking, but you
Right.
have to eat, right? So you have to,
Yeah.
and it's expensive to go out all the time. So you have to have some sort of food for, sustenance. So why not get some enjoyment out of it? Why not try something that you like, something simple? Why pay money at a restaurant if you can make it better at home, is my philosophy. I feel like Matt fine-tuned on how to make a steak and scallops at home, and I don't need to go out and pay a restaurant for a steak. On occasion, we will because they might have some different things added to it, but I feel like he does a great job of making that at home that I don't need to have it when we're out and about. I remember there was a store that sold banana bread. And I remember my friend and I at the time literally made 10 loaves of banana bread trying to figure out what the ingredient was that made that banana bread so different. We figured it out. It was molasses. Molasses with the banana bread was the winner.
Really.
It was so good. I can't explain it. It's just a really good banana bread that you don't just get anywhere. My mother-in-law makes a beautiful zucchini bread. It's so good.
Uh-huh. Oh
And
my
I think
goodness.
she cooks from love too, especially when she's baking. When she has to cook, that's more of a task, but when she gets to bake, I feel like that's where she shines.
That's amazing. I would love to hear about this zucchini bread recipe.
Yeah, love to get it from her. Because the
I
kids
know.
have made it. The kids have made it lots of times and they love it too. And they'll
Really?
bring it home and
Oh.
they'll share it. And oh,
Mm-hmm.
oh, and then the kids created what they call zucchini peanut butter and jelly that they take to school.
Whoa.
So they like to be creative with their meals. See, they went through a Nutella and strawberries and coconut phase, and they like to try just different things on their sandwiches for school.
Play cook together someday, Jessica.
Yeah, we
Like just
should.
something simple
I would
and
love
just,
it.
yeah, that would be amazing. I also will say this, that if you do not enjoy cooking, I think it's best to organize your kitchen, get rid of all the stuff that you don't use, pare it down to the things that you do use so that it's super easy to get things out and just as easy to put things away. That's kind of the way you want your kitchen organized. And I will also say that if you put inspo in your kitchen, I think that would be helpful too. Whether it's
Yeah.
like food art or just slogans or sayings that make you smile, make it your own, but make it an inspirational space.
Oh, I like that. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I'm
good.
working on that.
If you guys like what we're about, please join us next time on our episode 11 when we're going to do poetry. We are all about community. Join our community by following and subscribing to Be On It through YouTube, Instagram, and of course your podcasting platform, so we can continue to bring Be On It to you. Just so you know, this is for entertainment purposes only. We are speaking from our lived experiences and are not licensed therapists.